It's not in the best interests of his rich friends to deport all the workers who are making them rich.
The Trump administration directs ICE to expand its deportations in Democratic-run cities amid protests.
Plus, the changes being considered for ADUs in the city of San Diego today.
I mean, people don't carry tape measures around.
That corner parking spot could cost you $117. We'll show you why thousands in San Diego are getting ticketed.
You're not dying. After suffering a stroke, 89-year-old Jimmy Mock is offering free chicken wings for life to the bank employees who rescued him.
It's 6 a.m. on Monday, June 16th, and you're up with CBS 8. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Chris Groh.
And I'm Netta Irampour. Glad you're joining us, and hopefully you had a nice weekend, a nice Father's Day, Chris.
Yeah, it was. It was a very fun time, yeah.
A lot of sunshine to go around, which was really good.
So much. I mean, I would say out by the beach, it was comfortable. It was warm, but the farther east you were, the hotter it was. You were in Temecula, right?
Temecula, yeah. The cheese melted before we could get it on the burgers.
Exactly.
So,
102 is what we made it to in Ramona out there. That broke afternoon high temperature record for Sunday. Looks like this morning we are going to be seeing those temperatures mostly in the 50s and 60s. We'll be cooling down this afternoon. Visibility out there is very limited. In Fallbrook, we're at less than a tenth of a mile. San Diego and Imperial Beach at about 1 mile, and Otay Mesa at a third of a mile. So between now and about 10 a.m., we'll see those clouds break apart. We should be moving in the direction of more sunshine out by the beaches and staying warm out there. But coming up, we're going to be talking about a gradual cool down we'll be watching for throughout the rest of the week. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Evan. And now, this morning, President Donald Trump ordering immigration and customs enforcement agents to prioritize deportations from Democratic-run cities.
The announcement comes after a weekend of protests across the country. CBS 8's Regina Yarita downtown to explain what the president is saying about certain industries. Regina, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, guys, I can tell you that we have seen those protests happening in Los Angeles for the past 2 weeks now. And just a couple days ago, we noticed those No Kings protests happening across the nation. And as you mentioned, in San Diego, the police department says tens of thousands showed up to rally. But now President Donald Trump is directing federal immigration officials to prioritize deportations from Democratic-run cities. So that includes areas like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. President Trump, in a social media post, called on U.S. immigration and customs enforcement officials to, quote, do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history. Governor Gavin Newsom, on the other hand, has criticized the Trump administration for the recent raids and for bypassing the state authority after deploying National Guardsmen and Marines to L.A. He responded to President Trump's recent announcement with, quote, it looks like Stephen Miller got a hold of Trump's phone again. At the same time, the administration has directed immigration officers to pause arrests at farms, restaurants, and hotels after the president expressed alarm about the impact this aggressive enforcement is having on those industries. We know that the whole hotel industry is one of San Diego's biggest economic drivers. The president of Unite Here Local 30, representing more than 6,000 hotel and food industry workers, says it won't survive without immigrants. But here's what California Senator Alex Padilla had to say about it.
The same California that is the largest economy of any state in the nation, fourth largest economy in the world, not despite the immigrant population, but thanks to the contributions of so many immigrants as workforce, as consumers, and as entrepreneurs.
Now, in the next half hour, we'll hear from Republican leaders and what they have to say about the recent announcement coming from the Trump administration. For now, I'll send it back to you guys.
We'll check back with you soon, Regina. Thank you for the details. New this morning, 11 people are now in Border Patrol custody after their vessel was found off the coast of La Jolla. You see it right here. It happened around 5 in the morning Saturday. Coast Guard just sent us these photos. Officials say 11 Mexican nationals were found aboard a 20-foot vessel. This was about 22 miles off the coast. The Coast Guard says they were apprehended without use of force. We have an update this morning. Now more than 80,000 people participated in the so-called No Kings rally at Waterfront Park on Saturday. Look at these incredible views from Chopper 8. Organizers updated their earlier estimate. Initially, they said about 60,000, now 80,000. The San Diego Police Department says everything remained peaceful. Officers did not arrest everyone. They wrote, "You stayed classy, San Diego." Rallies were also held in Chula Vista, El Cajon, Escondido, San Marcos, and Rancho Bernardo, all protesting against the Trump administration's immigration policies.
This morning, the man suspected of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers, killing one, is now in custody. Law enforcement says they have arrested 57-year-old Vance Belter in Minnesota. Former Democratic House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were killed Saturday at their home. Senator John Hoffman and his wife are recovering after they were shot in their home about 9 miles away. Authorities say that Belter wore a mask and posed as a police officer and even had a vehicle altered to look like a police car. Belter now faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. He will be in court later this morning. And this morning, at least 5 people are dead in Israel after Iran fired more missiles overnight. Both countries have been ramping up their attacks after Israel targeted Iran's nuclear infrastructure on Thursday. According to a new report, President Trump opposed a recent Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. The president has said if any U.S. armed forces are hit by Iran, America will retaliate with, quote, full strength and might. The conflict is expected to dominate discussions at the G7 summit starting today in Canada. And this morning, a local rabbi is in Israel with his family, not sure when he'll be able to come home because of the ongoing conflict. Rabbi Avi Libman serves at Congregation Beth El in San Diego. He and his family traveled to Israel for 2 weddings.
The truth is, yes, I'm scared. I'm not going to deny that. For my children, for my wife, for my family, my extended family, for Israel. But I feel very calm. I really do.
The family has downloaded an app that gives warnings of incoming missile threats. Rabbi Libman says the airport is shut down, but essential places like supermarkets and gas stations are still open.
Today, the San Diego City Council will discuss proposed changes for accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs. Officials are considering many amendments for regulations that would include capping the scale of some ADU developments, limiting ADUs to 2 stories, and requiring off-street parking. Critics who live next to large ADU developments say these proposals do not go far enough, and they want them to be capped at 4 units per lot. Supporters of the program argue it's addressing the housing crisis. City Council will hold a public hearing at 2 this afternoon. Today's the deadline to register for a mail-in ballot to vote in the County Supervisor District 1 race. This is for the July 1st special election to fill the seat left vacant by Nora Vargas. Now, if you miss the deadline, you'll need to go to a voting center, which you can do starting Saturday, and that's where you can cast that provisional ballot. Voters are deciding between Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre and Chula Vista Mayor John McCann. Whoever is elected will finish the rest of the term, which will end in January of 2029.
All right, 6:08 here on this Monday and Father's Day. Evan, again, Temecula, pulled out the cheese, put it down to prep, turned on the grill, turned back around, and we had full melted slices.
Oh, that fast. Wow.
That's
98, 99. I mean,
out by the coast, it was perfectly comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Upper 70s,
Amazing.
low 80s out there, sunny. And I think everyone was just happy to see the sun out by the beach. But,
yeah,
when you're not out east, you don't really think about how hot it can get. But everywhere across those valley floors, it was quite hot. We are expecting today to look very similar. So if you're planning the barbecue for this afternoon, maybe you're kind of incorporating anyone who had to work over the course of the weekend. Hey, you've got another beautiful day on hand, another hot one out there. But out by the coast, it'll be mild, mid-70s by the time we get to about the noon hour. Some of our models push us to the low 80s. I'd say that's some wishful thinking, but we will likely stay in the upper 70s this afternoon by the water. Sunrise, 5:40 a.m. So now that we are about a half hour past sunrise, you can see some of the light setting in. This is that layer of clouds that is down below. This is west facing, so looking toward the water, and that marine layer is very much dense and with us this morning. When we look out on satellite radar, we can see that it's not stretching as far east as it was for a good portion of last week, so a much more shallow and thin marine layer, which is a plus side and likely an indicator that we will get that afternoon sun on hand yet again this afternoon. Across the inland valley, rallies, that's a given, but along the coast, that's kind of always been the question mark. There were some clouds to start off each day, Saturday and Sunday out by the water, but we very quickly transitioned to more and more of that sunshine, and we should do so for many days ahead, between about now and Wednesday at the very least, despite the fact that we're cooling down. 102 was that high on Sunday in Ramona, almost 20 degrees warmer than normal, and even broke their daily temperature record. But over the course of last week, we were primarily in the 80s. Here's that drop in temperatures that we'll watch for between now and the end of the week. Day by day, we're losing 3 or so degrees, maybe even 5 from today into tomorrow, getting us all the way down to about 81 by the time we get to Friday. And it looks like the upcoming weekend, next 5 days or so, all include that cooler trend of weather, but none of these days include any wet weather in the future, just some morning clouds and some fog across the coast and inland. Let's check in on traffic. That is another thing to be mentioning when we talk about traffic, is the fact that we have plenty of fog. So yellow on there is your road weather index, showing that those are spots where dense fog is visible, and you got plenty of yellow there on the screen. All spots where we should be reducing our speeds. Taking you to a new crash that just popped up. This is in the about Oceanside area, or just south of Carlsbad, it looks like. We've got a lane blocked with a crash on the 5 northbound. This is right before Poinsettia Lane. Could be running into some delays in the area already on those northbound lanes. As you can see, some stop and go traffic, but it's minimal right now. CHP trying to clear this before volume picks up. Looking at your border wait times, it is a 105-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Going to take you about an hour 45. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, just going to take you about 5 minutes longer. It's 110 minutes at the Otay Mesa Port.